Hi beautiful souls, my name's Kim and I help people find happiness through awareness of themselves and spirituality. I felt guided to share with you something that came through automatic writing the other day while I was doing some journaling. I've been doing some healing work on my back pain and I asked the pain what it wanted to tell me. I heard the word hatred come through. Okay, I thought pretty broad topic, so I asked hatred of what? Hatred of the world, I was told. Hatred of life in general. Hatred of myself. Hatred of the world and the human condition, where everyone is nasty to each other and intolerant of differences. I don't want to live in this sort of world, so I hate my very existence in it. Hatred of the way the world works, the systems that have grown to repress creativity and individuality. Our lot seems to just be a drudge through some half-necessary job and consumed to fill the hole in our beings for a brief moment. A life with no purpose or satisfaction. Hatred of life in general, the feeling that life's aim is to do me harm, that there's a lot of suffering but little joy to be found in the world, that life's random and largely malevolent. Hatred of myself. Now, I can be a pretty nasty person sometimes. I don't like how I treat others or how I act at times. My conscious mind knows better, so I beat myself up when I get it wrong. So I must be flawed. I hate that I'm depressed and feel bad most of the time, and I really hate that I'm not good enough and have the feeling that I never will be. So I just decided to transmute this hatred into love. Well, the world's going to hell in a handbasket, as the saying goes. The old is falling apart, but it's to make way for the new to come in. The human condition has been going through a bad patch for thousands of years as we've sought out our knowledge of ourselves. It is said that in the beginning was the Word. The universal consciousness said, I am. And then it asked, well, if I am, then what am I? So we have been finding out what we are as humanity. We left a place of unconditional love to explore our intelligence and free will. And we're now returning to love, cooperation and oneness. We're birthing a new heaven on earth through our growth in consciousness. And now that we're looking for answers inside of us and are understanding ourselves, we can do it willingly and not have the desire to look for answers outside of ourselves or the heaven that we're recreating again. It's the nastiness of life that has led us to this realization. The thought that there must be something better than this and the dissatisfaction with life is what has led us to search for something better, the heaven on earth that we're here to create. Just as there's no light without darkness, there can be no understanding of what joy and love would look like if we did not understand what hatred and despair looked like. We couldn't hope to create a heaven on earth that we're all committed to maintaining if we'd not gone through hell first. We'd be wondering, as did Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden metaphor, what if? What if I ate from the tree of knowledge? Now that we've had a whole range of the what ifs from eating of our tree of knowledge, we've no desire to return to our hell on earth, and we can be content in the heaven we're creating. We've learned from our mistakes. Life through its nastiness has taught us what heaven can look like. It has shown us that separation and caring only about ourselves brings only despair and pain because we're ignoring our instincts to care and cooperate. It's argued that civilization did not begin with the first crop or city, but with the first healed leg bone approximately 15,000 years ago. Prior to that, a broken femur meant that one couldn't hunt or gather food and couldn't escape from predators. It meant death. It showed that someone helped them though. It brought them food and water, protected them for weeks until the bone healed, cared them and looked after them. Cared about them and looked after them. Humanity has done Darwin's theories of survival of the fittest and separation to death and proved that they don't work. Darwinian principles don't build a society fit for the human spirit. Despite Darwin having doubts about his own theories, they're taught in schools and followed by science as implied fact, along with the assumption that progress is the only way to live, to keep making things bigger and better and chasing our purpose through constant improvement. We were at our purpose 15,000 years ago with the first known healed femur and we abandoned it. Now it's considered that few people care enough to help others. It's the domain of doctors and nurses and charities to help, and everyone else is supposed to stomp on others to get to the top. The caring ones feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of despair that they must contend with. a never-ending procession of suffering humans, because all we know is suffering. But through our suffering we've rediscovered love and are healing ourselves emotionally and spiritually. We're getting ourselves back on track. I hated myself until I realised that the me I was hating wasn't the real me. It was the programmed me, whose programming was actually in opposition to my essence. I felt bad all the time because I knew I was a better person than what I was showing. But despite my best intentions, I couldn't display that better person to the world. The person I hated was programmed to hate, whereas the person inside is pure love. I had to pull apart the hated one and examine him, see what made him tick. I had to dig through his pain to figure out why he reacted as he did. I had to pull apart his beliefs. I had to examine his prejudices, assumptions, generalisations, and discard them as misaligned with the being of love that I know myself to be. I realised that I was the hated one through no fault of my own. My programs were written by others with no recourse to my true essence. So I had to rewrite my programs, and I'm still rewriting programs. I saw that the real me deserved to be loved. I saw that the hated one needed to be loved in order to heal. Hating the hated one only led to more hate, a downward spiral with no bottom. I'm learning to love and accept myself. And each day that I find the strength to understand the hated one, I love and accept myself more. I will become the being of unconditional love inside eventually. After all, life is a lifelong journey, and we're all building a world that's more conducive to love. So, yeah, thank you for listening to my first channeling by Automatic Writing. If this resonates with you, feel free to comment. Let me know what you reckon about the idea, and thank you for listening. Peace, love and mung beans, beautiful souls.